So good afternoon, friends. Welcome to the day 3 training program of ours. Uh, I'm really very sorry for the inconvenience caused to you. At the last minute, we had to call off because of my bad throat since I am not recovered yet. But still today, you have to bear with me with this condition. And I believe my audio is reaching to everyone.
Yes, Prabhas.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's go to our sample case studies folder. And today we are going to deal with the file name called data analysis. So I request everyone, please open that file, data analysis. So when you have the huge chunk of data, when you download the data from SAP or ERP, if you get many more number of columns and row items, how to deal with the same, how to read your data properly, how to present it effectively to the audience with different styles of formats of reports, we are going to discuss the entire thing. But just confirm me in the chat box. This is the file in opened in front of your screen. Y for yes. So I believe you all have practiced well day 1, day 2, whatever the learnings. All right. So now kindly stay focused for 1 minute on my screen and focus on my audio as well. See, this is what the data, suppose say, I have downloaded from my SAP or ERP. So let me first give you a background story of this data so that everybody can connect with me. Okay. Now suppose say morning 9:30, I came to office and my boss asked me, Pravas, please come to my cabin. I went in and immediately he asked me that, Pravas, I was going through the reports, but I don't find the quality of information. It seems as if we are downloading the data and presenting the numbers as it is to the management. And in fact, I was there in the last meeting and I felt that nobody is quite happy watching the reports also. So he asked me, let's do something different this time. So what is that he's up to, what he's expecting? Let me take you through. So he asked me, Prabhas, get me last 3 years revenue data. So I gave my respective T codes in the SAP system. I could generate a database of near about 1 lakh line items like this. How it is? Like customers' data is there. These are the different product types we are dealing with. These are the products we are producing. Say, take an example. These are the various car names. And this data is for information. I'll tell you, this is about Tata Motors. And these are the salesman name we have. We engage to generate the revenue. Regions, these are the regions we export our products. Order date is nothing but billing date. Sales in terms of US dollar, we are making the billing. You can take it as INR also, no issues. Year of incurrence of sale, month, quarter, intermediary channel partner, if any, that name is also available. So it's a huge data. Now, when I showed this data to my boss, what he's saying, Prabhas, this data is of no use for me. Keep it with you. I don't want this. Just do me a favor. Get me a report out of this. So what kind of report? He is saying, I just want to see whatever the products we have sold to our customers. So product wise, last 3 years revenue data, I want to see a report. So now we have understood one thing, that we have a huge chunk of data. We have to present a report in a crispy format, a tabular format, or a summarized format, right? Now, to summarize our data, we have a very beautiful data summarizing tool called pivot table, or you can call it as pivot table. Anything is okay, not a problem. You can call that. Now, where is the mistake? I'll tell you. People, they are already working with pivot, or most of you might be working already with pivot table. I don't deny. But the first problem what we have is we never pay attention to our data, whether our data is ready for pivot. This is the place where we are committing a mistake. Going forward, we are not going to commit that. So now the first question is, how will I ensure that my data is ready for pivot? To prepare a pivot table out of any data structure, you must satisfy three validation rules. Rule number one, the data must contain a field header. Without field header, pivot is not possible. And no column header name should be duplicate. If I want to retain customer, two columns, I can retain customer. Again, one more column customer, but I cannot have the same name. I have to name it customer one and customer two, something like that. So there should be a unique column header all the time. This is rule number one. Rule number two, the amount of data, whatever we have captured, there should not be any blank cells. So how will I confirm that? Is there any blank or not? If you remember, in our day two, we discussed something in our data clean one. Select your data, go for Control G, G for gamma. So Control G, when you go for it, go to dialog box will appear. Click on the special button. And there you go for blanks. Yes, Andrew, very good. So when you go for the blanks and click OK, now immediately you will be getting a message. No cells were found. So this is a confirmation of our rule 2. We do not have a blanks inside the data set. So kindly confirm all of you are getting this message. No cells were found. Why for yes in the chat box quickly. Control G, special, blanks, and OK. But before that, don't forget to select your data. And you'll be getting a message. Very good. Thank you so much for your responses. So now, rule number 3. Rule number 3 says that ensure no column has the merged data. So any of the columns should not contain any kind of merged cells, because most of the time, what is the bad practice we have? We combine multiple cells and define a header to that. So that is meant for display, not for the calculations, because most of our functionalities doesn't read our merged data. So it is always better avoid using the merged cells. Why? Because there is no such kind of predefined setup to trace your merged cells. So this is the reason why it is always been recommended or suggested that make a thumb rule, avoid using the merged data. So having said these 3 rules, now our data is ready for next level, no doubt. But I told you in day 2, if you remember, whenever we download the data from SAP or ERP system, there are 2 areas we always find the trouble. What are they? One, numbers will not be in number format. Second, date will not be in date format, if you recall, correct? So now those 2 columns, again, we have to ensure it is complied with the proper format. So first thing first, if you look at in our data, there is a order date column available. So keep your cursor in the first date of the order date column and select the rest. Now, how will I ensure that my date is there in proper date format? If you remember in day 1, I told you to convert any format to date format. What is the shortcut? Anybody? To convert any format to date format. Very good, Sachin. Control Shift and 3. So Control Shift and 3 will be helping you to convert any format to date format. So that's the best way to check. So now you can select Control Shift 3 and you can notice your format has been changed. So it is a message for us since our date is in proper date format and we are able to change our data. So date column is there in proper date format now. Confirm, please. All right. Now, second, the number column, sales USD. Keep your cursor in the first value of the number column, that is sales USD. Select the rest. So how to confirm whether my numbers are there in proper number format? I told you the keyboard shortcut, any format to number format. What is that? Control Shift 1. Control Shift 1. Are you able to see the changes? Like decimals turns up? Yes, Pramod, very good. So when you press together Control Shift 1, it will be helping you to convert any format to number format. So all these changes are happening, no problem. And now our numbers are also there in proper number format. We got a confirmation. But only thing is, it is turning up with unwanted decimals data. Post decimal, many more characters are there. But how to remove the same? I told you there are two ways. Either you can go for home, decrease decimal twice, or you can do one thing, Alt H9 twice, you can go for it. So these are the options now we have availed and ensuring that our data is there complied with the proper formats, right? Now I will take you through one more problem in our data. Just have a look. If you look at our order date and month, can you see, can you identify the problem? Anybody? Yes, so order date, whatever the month it is stated, it is not matching with our month column. So technically, if you compare which might be the accurate one, definitely the date. So problem is our month. So now keep your cursor in your first month of the month column. Now, how to extract a month? We have discussed in our day one. Yes, anybody quickly? How to extract a month from a date? Formula name, text. Formula name, text. So when you go for text, what it demands me is the value. And what is value? Value is nothing but the order date, comma. What's the next one? Format text. What I need to format? Technically, what is the date format we follow? DDMMYY or MMDDYY, where D stands for day, M stands for month, Y stands for year. Now we need to deal with only the day. Month and year is not relevant. So within two double inverted quotes, I need to type M 4 times. So instead of day and year, we need to deal with the month. So M 4 times. Now, when I go for this within two double inverted quotes, it will be giving the complete string of the month. Got the list now? Now the double quote on the fill, double click on the fill handle button, and this is ready. So this is called our text formula, which will be helping us in extracting the month from a date. So check it out. I believe everybody is able to get that. Fine. So now what are the necessary things to be checked? We got a clarity on that. Now let's do one thing. Select your data. Select your data and convert your data into table. So I told you in day two How to convert your data into table? What is the shortcut? Control T. Very good, admin. So Control T is going to help me, T for Tango, T for table, to convert our data into table. Okay. Now, the moment I hit enter, my data is converted into table. No doubt about it. Now, keeping the cursor anywhere in the data, anywhere in the data, go to our insert. The very first option from insert is dealing with our pivot table. Okay. Don't navigate the pivot option like this. Don't navigate. Don't do that. Just click on the pivot table icon. Just click on that icon. And when you click on this icon, you will be getting a dialog box like this, where you'll be finding the entire table range is defined with a name called table 1. Now below to that, it is asking where you want your pivot table report to be placed. By default, it's new. It's always better to go for a new sheet so that your presentation will be neat and clean. So having said this, the moment I go and click OK, you all can notice a new Excel worksheet is generated in the same Excel file. And towards my left, a sketch is ready. This is the place where pivot table is going to get designed. And within that, you could see a box where the pivot table name is there. And this is called our pivot table name box. And technically, each and every pivot table, they will be having a unique name. Now coming towards the right side, if you look at, there is a field, there is a column where you can notice all the field headers are displayed. This is called field list box. And towards your right, you could see small boxes kind of structures are there. This is called field area. Now we have only one job left. What are the fields we want? What are the fields we want? We can simply drag and drop over here. Again, drag and drop, drag and drop, and drag and drop. So this is the only action we need to initiate. Okay. Now, once I am aware of this, okay, I need to drag and drop. But one problem is, if you notice, my layout is not matching with yours. So now question is how to bring the similar layout? Well, what you can do, there is a settings box I can highlight, you can see also. And there, if you navigate, the second option deals with field items and section items side by side. Go for this option, you will be finding exactly the layout like me. So kindly confirm you got the layout. Now, as we discussed, we need to just simply drag and drop. Okay. Now just hold on for a minute. I can drag a field, but where to drop? I have got 4 different choices. So for that, you need to follow a rule. What is the rule says is, if you look at the field headers, there is a option called values. So it's a simple message. Whichever the field deals with the numbers that you must populate in the value field area. So what is that we have right now? Boss is asking me last 3 years revenue data based on the products. So revenue data is nothing but my billing column. Billing column sales USD. Is it having the numbers in place? Yes. What should be the right field area? Is the values. So please bring sales USD to the values. Now, last 3 years revenue data we want. There is a field called year. Take it to the columns. Now, why columns? If I want three different columnized data, I can take columns. Is there any restriction? Can't I go and put it across in rows also? Yes, you can. You can bring it to rows. It will be just giving three rows information. Right. Now, why did I prefer two columns? Because apart from here, I have got something else to also bring in pivot table. What is that? Say over here, product. So bring product description to the rows and see the beauty. A beautiful pivot table is immediately getting ready on the screen and having the total 3199253. Check it out, people. All of you are getting the same total. All right, people. Good to go for next level. Yeah, I'm sorry, there's a typing mistake from my side. My bad. 31. It's 99253. Yes, Sachin. Absolutely right. Right. Now, once we have done with this, next, what is the first thing we should do, people? Though our pivot is ready, that pivot cannot be dispatched to the next level. The reason is whenever you are presenting your data, since day one, I keep on telling, always care for your presentation because your presentation makes you different. Okay. Now, this pivot, why it is not ready for dispatch? Because first of all, the look and feel of pivot is not so great. So how to change this? Just see, keep your cursor in pivot and you can see on your ribbon tab, extreme right, there is a design button activated, design. And in this design, if you look at over here, we have got various styles. Go for the more button. And it opens up with three broad categories: light, medium, and dark. As I told you already, go for light or medium only. Don't go for the dark options. If you recall, day one, format as table, day two, our multi-DB filter, all these skills and data presentation sheet, we discussed everything. Able to recall what I'm saying? So if yes, I'm glad. Now, can someone tell me why I have said not to take the dark color? What was the reason? I said not to take the dark options. What is the reason behind that? Yes, Edwin, very good. Very good, Sachin. So the more the dark color, the file size will be more. This is the only reason why we have already discussed not to take the dark options. Now, so going for design tab, keep anything from light to medium side. Suppose I take this. Now, if you look at the pivot look and feel is somewhat looking better. Well, the next thing is if you look at here, this Bolt, Genix Nano, Hexa, and Indica, what are they? These are our products, right? So we know these are our products because we are dealing with the data. Now, if I'm presenting something to my audience, a layman is sitting, how will know these are my products or these are my inventory items or these are my accessories? Very difficult to know that. So this is the reason why. What you need to do is the pivot table headers by default, whatever it is showing, like row label and column label, we need to bring the exact field name as it is. So here what you can do, our experts, they will suggest you go and manually edit the fields. Don't do that. I will suggest a beautiful option. Just see. Keeping your cursor in this pivot anywhere, go to our design again. From the left, third option, report layout, and go for over here. Just give me a minute, it becomes hang, I guess. Sometimes Excel behaves odd. Okay. So now, keeping the cursor in the pivot anywhere, going to design. From the left, third option, report layout. And you will be finding an option called show in tabular form. And the moment you go for this option, now you see the beauty. Exactly whatever the fields we had, the same field name will be populated as a header of our pivot. All right. Now our pivot table is ready. Okay. But if you remember, I told you nowadays, when you present your data as it is, nobody likes it. What audience is expecting? That you should present your data in such a way, it should tell a beautiful story to the people. So how to present our data in a storytelling format? Just see. Going to over here in our grand total, keep your cursor in any of the cell of the grand total and right click open the same. Here, go for sort and choose largest to smallest. And immediately a beautiful story turns up. Can you make out? From Indica, we have got the maximum revenue. From Jest, we have got the least revenue. Can you make out? Keeping yourself in the audience shoes. If you look at your pivot table, is it the story conveying to you? So this is how people, we got our first pivot table ready. All right. So kindly rename the sheet with pivot one. The way I am typing, please type as it is. The way I am typing, please type as it is the sheet name. And now this becomes our first pivot table over here. So any doubt, any queries in our first pivot table, people, anybody? Is it clear? So now let's have a quick recap what we did. So how to create a pivot table satisfying all the rules, doing the minimum formatting and presenting our data with the minimum designs. And finally, how to present our pivot table with a storytelling format. Those things we discussed. All right. So now, once we have done with this, just do one thing. Right click on pivot one sheet name. Right click on pivot one sheet name. Move or copy. Create a copy. Checkbox, you'll find it is not selected. So kindly make it on and click OK. So one more pivot is generated and the name will be pivot table number 2. Now we are going to discuss what else we can do with regard to pivot table. Okay. So next 1 minute, please watch my screen. See, this is what the data of last 3 years I have presented to my boss. My boss is watching, quite happy. And he's telling Prabhas, this pattern is really good. I like it. So taking the revenue in columns, defining the products in the rows, this pattern I like the most. Okay. But what I want is, I want to go for more deep dive analysis on the data, or I want to go for more macro level of analysis on the same. So in that case, how to present it effectively? Just see. So what is the meaning by macro level of analysis or deep dive analysis? First, you need to understand. See, we have presented our year-wise data. That's fine. Now, if I want to go in depth of this and I want to analyze means what can be done? Month-wise analysis also can be done, isn't it? So that is what my audience is expecting from me. So how to do that? Just check. First thing first, do we have a field called month? Check. Do we have a field called month? Yes, we do have. Now we need to take it to the right place. So do one thing. Take month to the row area. Now, can you see the changes in the pivot structure? So here, one thing again notice on my screen. Whenever you prepare a pivot table, the pivot has its own unique story. Now, this pivot table, what kind of story it is going to give it to the audience? Let's have a discussion upon that. Just see, the moment my boss asked me, Prabhas, last 3 years revenue data I want, did I provide him? Yes. What was his immediate requirement? Next, along with that, month-wise analysis he wants to do. Is it there? Yes. But if you look at the pivot table as a larger picture, what is that message it is giving? Though month is there, but the entire report is still emphasizing upon the product because product is your primary column now. But boss has never emphasized upon the product column. He asked, along with the year-wise data, month-wise analysis I want to do. So here the thing, what it has gone wrong is, instead of keeping the month as primary level, we kept product description as primary. So this is the place where it has gone wrong. So how to change, how to rectify, just see. Keeping your cursor in pivot, the moment you go and look at your field list box, which box is containing over here, just check it out. In this pivot table, if you see the month is there in the row area, but what is the first field there? Product. So let's do one thing. Take that product below to the month. Just interchange, switch the field and see the beauty. Again, the pivot structure is changing. Can you make out? With simple interchanging the field, the entire story of pivot table is changing. So can you get the difference between the previous pivot table, what is the story, and the current one, how the message is quite different. Now, once we have done with this, no doubt the report structure is good enough, but my boss is having the focus now on the data area. So if you look at our data area, there are so many blank cells are available. So boss is saying, Prabhas, why there are so many blank cells when you scroll down? Now you tell me why there are so many blanks, people. Simple, no cells. In 2014, in the month of January, if you look at just, we have not raised a single invoice, neither towards Sumo Gold, Bolt, Indica. We have not sold to any of our customers. So what you have understood now, though we have taken the rule as one rule called there should not be any blank cells in the data, still our pivot is containing some blanks. You may come across this kind of situation quite often. So don't be panic. Here, only thing is what you have to do. You have to do the confirmation that, okay, why there is one blank. So now, if you have sent this report to 5 different people, so 5 times the same thing again and again, you have to explain. Now, same thing when you explain 5 different people, you will also get bored and your premium time is being wasted. Do you agree with me? Now, the reason of having the blank cells in place, if you look at, and if people are asking questions, you have to explain the reason behind it to 5 different people for 5 different times. Our premium time is being wasted, isn't it? So, in this case, how to stop people asking unwanted questions? You would have thought something. Yes, Prabhas, we can go for find and replace, isn't it? Find and replace. So, if that is the case, then do you think that pivot is going to help you? No. Find and replace you can apply only in the normal Excel sheet of data. In pivot table, it will not help. So in pivot, how to work around? See the beauty. It is very easy in pivot. Just do it along with me. Right click on pivot table anywhere. From the bottom, second option, pivot table options. And when you choose that, immediately it will take you to a dialog box where you could see the pivot table options. There is an option called for empty cells show. For empty cells show. And there is a box also available. So anything you want over there in that box, you can type it. 0, hyphen, nil, not available, anything. But I would suggest always go for 0 since we are dealing with numbers. So go for it. And the moment you click OK, you'll be getting your pivot table. Wherever the blank cells were there, all are replaced with the text called 0. So kindly check, is it happening? Is it working? All right, thank you so much. So now please save all your workbooks. Okay. Now, once we are done with this, now my boss is analyzing the data. Stay focused, please, for a minute. And he checking one by one product. And when he's reaching to the product called Tiago, now he's unable to make out which month that data is pertaining to, which month the data is belong to. Then he has to look back in the first row item. Then only he realizes it is of January month. Now, he is not comfortable reading the data in this format. So what he's telling me, Ravas, why don't you do one thing? In this month column, why don't you fill the data with the month names so that any row item I am working with, I could make out which month this data belong to or which month this data pertaining to. I don't need to struggle for that. So if that is the case, how to deal with? So here, if you remember, in day 2, we discussed a technique for data fill. What was that? Like taking the whole column, Control G, special, blanks, equal to, previous cell, click OK. Then you download the same and you open in front of the screen with your application of all your necessary formattings, whatever we used to do, right? So that was a quite tedious process if you're working with a normal Excel sheet data. But right now we are working with pivot. It's very easy. Just see how. Do it along with me again. Keep your cursor anywhere in pivot. Go to design. Okay. In this design tab, again from the left third option, report layout. Do you see an option called repeat all item labels? Just click that and see the beauty. What happens? My entire month column is replicated with the month names wherever there was no data, correct? Fine. So all clear? Any doubt, any queries from anybody? Pivot 2, what we did, is it clear? Sachin, how is the status? Okay, good. So, Vasi, are you following? Vijay, pivot 2 is clear. All right, people. So right now we are done with our pivot table number 2. So let's go for right click on pivot to sheet name. Okay. Move or copy. Create a copy checkbox you can activate and click OK. So one more pivot turns up. One more pivot turns up. Pivot table number 3. Now let's see what else we can do with regard to pivot. Just see. So this is what the pivot table we have prepared and presented. Last 3 years revenue data, 3 columns, and month-wise data over there. Boss is quite happy, and he is now done with our product-wise analysis. Now, what he is expecting, please listen. He is telling that, Prabhas, I am done with product, but the report pattern is really good. Taking last 3 years data in 3 columns and our month details over there in 1 column, that's fine. But I am done with product. So I don't want to see any more product. But yes, I want to do a customer-wise analysis. Having the report pattern just like this, I want to do a customer-wise analysis. So what is first unwanted is the product. So kindly remove product description checkbox. Right? Now, what we need to do is, next is the customer my boss is expecting. So bring customer to the row area and you got your report ready. As it is, last 3 years revenue data with regard to the month. And now, instead of product, customer-wise report is ready. So kindly confirm you got the similar structure in front of your screen. Hiram, able to follow? Fine. Now, once we have done with these people, let's go and analyze this report. Who is our first customer? In your report or my report, if you see, who is our first customer? Al Hamid Automobiles. Yes, same. Now, no need to do anything. Just focus on my screen for a minute. My boss is looking at a report, okay, and he is just checking Al Hamid's 2014 data. In the month of January, there is no business, no revenue. When you scroll down, some business is there in the month of Feb. When he goes further down, there is no sign of Al Hamid Automobiles. So, like that, if he wants to analyze the whole year data of Al Hamid Automobiles for the year 2014, he has to scroll down many times. And that is what nobody is comfortable with nowadays. So, what my boss is expecting, let me take you through. He is telling, Prabhas, data is there, but it is not giving a comfort zone to work with. Why don't you do something with the month column so that I can see the report, no doubt, but I no need to scroll a lot. I no need to navigate a lot. So in that is what I can do. How will I present it? Just see. Now, Keeping the cursor in pivot anywhere. If you look at month where it is available in the row area, right? Now take that to the column area. Now what happens? Pivot structure changes. Now all the customers' names are visible in one column, no doubt. But imagine how many columns you are landing up with. Yes, people, how many columns? Can somebody identify that? 36, Vijay? I'm showing it on my screen. Just see. How many columns? Total 41 columns. Now just imagine if my boss has never seen this and he asked me, Prabhas, while coming to my cabin, get me a printout. So how will I take a printout having of 41 columns? Pretty difficult, isn't it? So now the question is how to present this data then, isn't it? So let's just watch my screen for a minute. Observe what I'm doing. Next 1 minute you can try also. If you look at, there is a cell called 2014 in column B. So I'll keep the cursor over there. I'll go for right click. There will be an option called expand and collapse. And within that, I'll go for collapse entire field. And see the beauty? With immediate effect, that entire 41 columns will be transformed to just 5 columns. And how it is transformed? Just see, creating a plus symbol like a radio buttons. This is called plus symbol radio button. So you see over here in each and every year wise, we have got buttons over here. Okay. Now I am presenting this. If my boss happens to ask me, Prabhas, just show me 2016 data. I can go and click on this plus symbol and alone 2016 data will be opened under display. So what is happening? The unwanted data we are not disclosing to the people. Unwanted questions are not going to come up. And once my presentation is over, to restore my data, I can again click on the plus symbol and this is restored. So this is how this expand and collapse button, how to play a very big role in terms of our data presentation in pivot we have understood. Check it out. Is it working? Any doubt, any queries in using this expand and collapse buttons, people? Vijay, Pramod, Sachin. Okay, Pramod confirmed. Very good. Vijay, Sachin, Vasi, Edwin. Okay, Edwin also confirmed. Good. Now, just 1 minute, watch my screen. Okay. Now, this is what the pivot table I have prepared. I have presented, no doubt about it. Fine. Now, what we prepared, anybody can do that. It's just a simple option which is available in the right click. Don't you think that anybody can make it? Yes, of course. Now, what I have been always emphasizing upon, how to make our presentation different from others. So that's what I'm always focusing with. Now, in this case, if I want to give some add-on to the data, what else we can do so that my data presentation will be more great and people will love to see that. Yes, give me your opinion, people. what else you can do in this data set so that it will be a value addition to the work, or people will love to see that and they'll be giving a compliment to your work. Yes, region data. How come region and Pramod and Anirudh, they're saying region? See, region also there. Anybody can bring it. See, don't think about getting more fields into the pivot. This is what the max my people are demanding. What else I can do on this? Think about that. Don't think bring region or bring again the product or product type. Don't think about that. Okay. So if you're not able to connect, I will give you a helping hand. Yes, Vijay is saying graphical presentation. So what kind of graphics, Vijay, we can do it? Growth. So where the growth? Largest to smallest. Huh, that's a good one. I can click on the over here grand total, small sort, largest to smallest. This is what we can do to add more value. Globus data, Globus data, from that we got the maximum revenue. And from Concord Motors, we have got the least revenue. Yes, that's a beautiful presentation. Fine. So here, I'll tell you, if you ask people to give more add-on, they immediately think about charts and graphs. Yes, but we have not discussed the charts and graphs yet. But I told you in day two, if you remember the last topic, what was that? Different kinds of visuals. Did you remember? Data bars, icon sets, spark lines, and our people graph, all these things we discussed, right? Now the same thing, we are going to use it over here. See, 1 minute. Again, watch my screen carefully. Observe. Next 1 minute, you can try. Here, what I'm going to do is nothing new. What we have learned already, the same thing only. Just watch. I will create a new column naming called visual. To give a feel as if this is the property of pivot, I'll be retaining the same format. Then I will keep the cursor in my first customer's 3 years data from Globus data. I will go to insert. The other day we discussed about sparklines. And which sparkline we discussed? Column. So today I'm going to take to this line sparkline. And there is already data selected. You can see. Now it is demanding where is the location. So location is the visual column for cell. When I click OK, I will be getting more or less a line graph options over here. And along with that, an extreme right of the ribbon, there will be a sparkline tools or design tab, something will be there depending upon the versions. And there is an option also available, naming called markers. So when I go and use this markers checkbox to on, you can find it will be giving a beautiful pointers kind of options in that line graph. So this is for one customer, we did it. The same we can apply for the rest of customers and see the beauty. When you are going to present it, people will love to see this column and this column because nobody is having that much of time to go through your numbers, whether it is in lakhs, crores, billions, millions, and then making out story. People don't have that much of time. That's why this is giving an instant information. How? If you look at over here, Arya Motors case, what is happening? There is a consistent growth. If you look at it's a good sign from the company perspective. But if you look at your Malwa Auto, what happens compared to last year? Volume is very drastically down. It's a serious case. Why it is happening like that? We need to check it out. But if you look at again, Al Hamid Automobiles, though overall it is not making a growth, proper revenue. But if you look at compared to last year, some consistency is being maintained. So this is how the visuals is 1,000 times better than your boring numbers. And that's why people will love to see this. And in fact, if you carry to your PowerPoints also, you can make a better presentation. All right. So please give it a try and check it's working. Any doubt, any queries? First, create the visual column. Then select the first customer's 3 years data, not the grand total. Insert line spark line. So if at all any questions running in your mind, ask and make it clear. Because these things is something about your uniqueness and innovative ideas, how you add it to make it better. Options remains the same, but people are unable to use it. Fine. So pivot table number 3, what we did, can I take that? Everybody's clear? All right. Now right click on pivot 3, right click on pivot 3, move or copy, create a copy checkbox you can activate and click OK. All right. So now a new pivot table turns up over here. And then pivot table number 4, we are going to work. So visual column work is over. I can remove the same, selecting the whole column and control minus. Now, so our pivot work is over. Let's see what we can do. See the unwanted columns first. Let's remove that. What's that? Customer. Please remove it. Then month. Remove it. Bring product descriptions to the rows. So whatever the first pivot table we had designed, we have got it over here. Nothing much. Okay. So kindly confirm your pivot 4 is ready with that structure. Now, suppose this is what the pivot table I have prepared and presented to my boss. My boss is watching the data and he is telling me that Prabhas, you have given me last 3 years revenue data. I said, yes. Now what he's saying me, he's telling me that I just want to see to generate this much of revenue, how much incentives we have paid. I want to check that. So in one line, if you want to discuss revenue versus incentive in the adjacent column, my boss wants to analyze the data. Well, so first thing first, in the corporate, whom we pay the incentives? Anybody? Right. So salesman, salesperson, sales agent, the people who are technically helping us to boost up our revenue, we pay them. So now my boss is looking at incentive. So first thing first, check. Do we have a field called incentive anywhere? Do we have a field called incentive? No. So our first problem starts, we do not have the data. Okay, fine. Keep that question on hold. Now suppose say in our organization, we have a uniform policy. Whatever the revenue we generate, whatever the billing we make, 2% we declare as incentive for our people. So the whether my salespeople are from north area or south region or eastern zone they are working or western or central area, wherever, whichever the area they're working, uniformly they're allowed for 2% incentive. Well, now having said this, if you discuss, we do not have the data called incentive, but we know how to compute it. So what is the choice we have if I want to bring incentive in pivot? So when we do not have the data, we do always have a choice. Going to source data sheet. What is the last column? Channel partners. Keep the cursor to the next and type incentive and hit enter. See the beauty, what you're getting. Same formatting is being carried forward. Can you see that? How it is happening? We did not do any kind of formatting up. Yes, Anirudh, very good. This is what we discussed in our day one and day two as well, that because of format as table option, your format goes along with the table. Well, coming to the formula, equal to billing column, sales USD. It will take its own format like at the rate symbol, square brackets, column header name. Don't be panic. Just take the reference to sales USD, multiply how many percentage? 2%. And the moment you hit enter, can you see the beauty again? What happens? It is not only applying to the cell, but also the entire column. And how it is happening? Again, because of format as table option. So we got our incentive column ready in source data sheet. Correct? Or clear? In our summary table data sheet, we created our incentive column. Now, the same we need to bring it to our pivot table number 4. Below to channel partners, you see there is no incentive, but we don't need to struggle much. See the beauty. Right click anywhere in pivot. Right click anywhere in pivot. Just see you have an option called refresh. And when you go for refresh option, immediately below to channel partners incentive will be populated. Now, incentive, what kind of data it is holding or carrying? Numbers. And we discussed if any column carries the numbers, what is the right field area? Going to values. So take this incentive to the value and see the beauty. A new column is turning up, naming called sum of incentive. And along with that, the year-wise incentive is also populated. Yes, people, can you make out? So this is how we have understood when we do not have the data, not to be panic. We do have always a option on to create our data in source table, and the same we can bring it to pivot by simply right click refresh. So now the question is how a new column has come with a refresh button because of format as table. If you have not converted the data into table format, you had to struggle with going to pivot table analyze, change data source. Again, you have to change your new data source. So just to overcome that, to save our time, it is always better before creating the pivot, convert your data into table. So hope you got the basic understanding. Why did I ask you to convert your data into table? All right. So now pivot 4 is ready. Any questions from anybody for pivot 4? Fine then. So we have done with our pivot table number 4. Let's do one thing. Right click on pivot 4 sheet name, move or copy, create a copy checkbox you can activate and click OK. So one more pivot turns up, pivot table number 5. Okay. So let's see now what else we can do with regard to pivot table. Now, incentive work is over. I can deactivate that. Incentive work is over. I have deactivated the checkbox. Now, please stay focused. What is the next requirement? Please stay focused with that. So my boss is happy the way I have presented my incentive data over here. Then his expectation has increased, and immediately he asked me that Prabhas, I am done with incentive. Now, what I want to see is while making this much of billing, while generating these invoices, I want to know how much corporate discounts we have given to our customers. So basically, if you one line, if you want to say, my boss wants to analyze invoice amount versus discount amount side by side. So first thing first again, screen is not coming. Okay. Anybody else is unable to see my screen, people? Okay, visible. Vijay, just log out and log in one more time. Just check it out. I'll be waiting. Don't worry. Just log out and log in. If it is persisting, the screen is not visible. Okay, is it visible now? Yes, Edwin, you can right click on pivot table. You can go for the last option. Show pivot table fields option will be there. Show field list. Something will be there. Yeah. Yes, Vijay, could you please confirm? You able to see my screen? I'm highlighting something. Able to see that? Okay, great. Now, please stay focused for a minute. So the way my boss asked me that Prabhas, I just want to see while making this much of billing or invoice while generating how much discounts we have given to our customers. So first thing first, do we have a field called discount? Check it out, please. No. So again, our problem starts. We do not have a field called discount. Now keep that thing on hold. Like incentive, for discount also, we have a uniform policy in our organization that whatever the billing we make, whatever the invoice amount we make it, though our customer buy the quantity in bulk or very small quantity, irrespective of the number of quantity, we give a price discount uniformly at 5% on the billing amount. So from the gross billing value, 5% discount is given to all the customers. So now we do not have the data, but we know how to compute it. If that is the case, then how to bring our discount in pivot? What is the choice we have? Like incentive, we can prepare one more column also discount. Do you agree with me? So what we did in the previous step for incentive calculation with the similar fashion, can we go for our discount calculation? Do you agree with me? So here, just watch my screen. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. Just watch my screen. So like incentive, if I go for a discount column, what is happening? I go to a new column, define my header, creating the formula, applying the to whole column, bringing the same to pivot, populating in the field area over there. How much time we have spent? A rough estimate, 2 to 5 minutes. Do you agree? So one end, our 5 minutes of quality time is being spent, and it's a waste of time. Yes, waste of time. Besides that, what is happening? When you create a new column in your source data sheet and applying the formula, your file size is also getting heavy. Yes, of course. So having said all these things, now the bottom line is what we did for incentive calculation. Maybe our experts may be suggesting to do the job like this, but Excel never recommends for that. Neither pivot table advice for it. So now, how to create a new column naming called over there as discount without creating the data in the source data sheet. That is what our objective. So let's go and deal with it. Keep your cursor anywhere in pivot table and start working with me. You can notice a option is activated called Analyze or Pivot Table Analyze. Depending upon the version of Microsoft Excel, options, analyze, pivot table analyze, all these options people may come across. So when you go and navigate, there is an option called Fields, Items, and Sets. Fields, Items, and Sets. And just within that, you will be having an option called Calculated Field. Please open that. Calculated Field. And when you go to the Calculated Field, you will be finding a dialog box appears where you could see the name is there. What is that it is showing? The field one, delete. So whatever the new field going to generate, what should be the name? Name should be discount. So let's go and give it. Now, next criteria, formula. Whatever it is there in the formula box, please delete that because we are going to define our own formula. So what should be the formula? 5% on the billing column. Where is the billing column? In the below. If you find, is there a column called sales USD? Yes. Double click on that. Immediately the same will be embedded. Okay. Then multiply. How many percentage? 5%. And when I go for this and click OK, with immediate effect, you will be finding your pivot is going to carry one more field naming called our total discount. Along with that, the year-wise discounts also will be populated. So this is called our calculated field or virtual field. Where it is available? Fields, items, and sets, calculate field. Just confirm you able to get it. Any doubt, any queries? All right. So now what you have understood from this pivot table number 5 exercise, what is the takeaway? What you have understood? Anybody? Yes, Edwin, Anirudh, anybody? Yes. So one thing we have understood that we no need to go back to our source data sheet and create the unwanted data. So basically what we did for incentive, the same we can do for our, with the help of calculated field. So we no need to go and increase our file size unwantedly. This is the takeaway, right? Now here, there is no limitation. To create this kind of virtual field, there is no limitations. There is no restrictions. You can keep creating as many as you can. But this will be retained as your virtual field of pivot table property. Any point of time you want to deactivate, you can, or you want to bring it back, you can bring it back. Now, is there any question running in your mind? You must have the question. In this exercise, how to do, we have understood. What is the takeaway? We got it. Still, is there any question running in your mind? No question? Okay. I will ask you since, does it affect our table sheet? Pramod, what is that meaning? Could you please be more elaborate? Table sheet, which table sheet? You mean to say summary table? No.
Yeah, first table that we have created.
No, it is not going to affect anything. It is not going to create even that data also. It's not going to create. Did you see anywhere this
No.
discount data? No. So that's the beauty. If if it will go to summary table and create one more column, there is no point of doing that. Correct? So
Okay.
that's what the beauty. Without creating the data, we can bring it up. So my question is now, suppose, just stay focused. While doing this procedure of calculate field, if you have committed any mistake, instead of 5% discount, suppose you have taken something else, or tomorrow your discount value has been changed or percentage has been changed, how to rectify that? This is one. Question number two, if I am done with this, I don't want the discount field to be there. How will I delete that? These are the second question. So these are the questions you should have asked me. Well, since you have not asked me, I'm just going to explain that. See, if this kind of situation comes, people, you no need to go and recreate the entire process. The same field can be edited, modified, or deleted also. But how? Just see. Keeping the cursor in pivot, I'll go to same option like going to analyze, pivot table, analyze, pivot table fields, and there calculate field. There you can notice in this there is a drop down. In this name column, there is a drop down. I'll go to that. I'll choose whichever the field I want to edit. And then if I want to change the percentage, now I can change. Okay. Now I need to click the modify button first. If you are doing some changes, you have to click the modify. If you do not want to do any changes, you want to just simply delete. There is a delete field over here. But you have to click OK after that. Don't forget it. So this is how we have understood whenever you have this kind of additions or editing to be done over there at any point of time to the calculate field, we always have the option on. Don't be panic. All right. Hope it is clear what I'm saying. So people, my voice is audible to you. You can make out what I'm speaking. Okay, great. Now, pivot 5, we are done with that. Right click on pivot 5 sheet name, move or copy, create a copy checkbox you can activate and click OK. Yes, Edwin is asking a question, love to answer. If we want to change the discount for a particular year, no, that cannot be done, Edwin, because this is uniformly applied to across all the fields. So if you are having customer-wise discount percentage or year-wise discount pattern varies, you don't have any other option except going to summary table, creating a new column naming called discount percentage and another column discount value. This is the only thing you have to do, but that too you have to do it a source data sheet. Hope it is clear. Right. Okay. Now pivot table number 6 people. We are done with that and discount is also over. So you can deactivate discount. So don't be panic. It will be always be retained. So incentive is our real-time field. Discount is our virtual field. Now let's see what else we can do with regard to pivot table. Now I'm going to take you through a beautiful concept of our pivot table, that how to export our pivot table report into multiple reports on a click of button. Like, just see, try to understand the concept. This is what the pivot table I have presented to my boss. My boss likes the most. And he's telling Prabhas, this pattern is really good. What is the meaning by pattern? Last 3 years revenue data in 3 different columns. The entire products in the rows. I like it. But you have given me only one pivot table. What I want is the pattern should remain the same. The pivot table look should be like this, but that should be based on the salesman. So salesman wise pivot table, now my boss is expecting. He's not happy with one pivot table. He's expecting multiple pivot table, and that should be based on the salesman. How will I prepare this? So let's go and have a look. No need to do anything. I'm just doing on behalf of all. So if that is the case, the first thing should come to my mind. Do I have a field called salesman or sales agent? Just is it there? Yes, we have got salesperson. Now, no need to do anything, just watch my screen. I took salesperson to the row area. Pivot structure is disturbed. My boss is not happy. I took the salespersons to the column area. Though pivot table structure is there, but I'm unable to see the salesman wise data. Now, I'll take my year to the columns. We have done. I'll take my year to the filters. Okay. So from columns to when I take it to the filter, can you see some changes on the screen over here? Sorry, I have taken the wrong value. Yeah. Yes. Now, exactly pivot patterns remains the same, no doubt. And above to pivot table, I'm getting my salesperson also. Now, just 1 minute, focus on my screen. So I got my report ready with the happiness and curiosity. I went to my boss and I told him, Sir, you are looking for multiple reports based salesman, right? Do one thing. Go to salesperson filter, choose SM1 and click OK. Now the entire pivot table detail belongs to salesman 1. Now only thing is what you need to do, you need to create a new worksheet. You have to copy this pivot table over there and you have to paste it in that site. So this action only you have to repeat for number of times depending upon the number of salesmen. This is what I have suggested to my boss. Now, what would be the reaction? Yes, people, if I have suggested something to my boss like this, what would be the reaction from the other side? Can anybody make out? right? Time consuming, unhappy. So nobody will like this kind of presentation. Now, see the reaction from the other side. Suppose say I did it. My boss listened the whole story. And finally, what he reacts, he looked at my data, he looked at me, he gave a plastic smile, plastic smile, the smile which is not natural. And he told me, Prabhas, the way you have diverted the entire responsibility towards me, I like that. So I am impressed with your smartness. But if I am going to do your work, let's do one thing. Tomorrow morning, when you come to my office or cabin, please bring your resignation letter with you. I would be happy to sign on that. Anybody will say like this. So, what you have understood from the entire story, that we cannot divert our responsibilities towards our seniors. Do you agree? Can you transfer your job responsibility towards your seniors? No way. So now, in this case, if he is expecting me to do the job, then how will I do that? So first, I need to create, if I am working with a global report, 100 salesmen were working, then I have to first insert 100 worksheets. Then I need to copy and paste the pivot table report for 100 times. Then again, what I need to do, I need to change the filter with the salesman name for 100 times. And finally, we need to color them over there in each and every pivot table, whatever we have created, and beautifying the report. It will be taking a lot of time, and that also 200 times I'll be doing it for renaming the sheets. So it will be taking my whole day, trust me. And even though I take a whole day of time, I would be able to do it in a perfect manner. There is no guarantee, there is no assurance for that. Now just imagine, think about your productivity. If you take whole day time, do you think that your boss would be having that much of patience to give it to you that much of time? No way. And if you are unable to complete taking this much of time, there will be a negative impressions in your KRA report. And if your KRA report is negative, that will be giving an impact to your appraisal form also. So this is how people treat us in the corporates. Now just imagine that entire one day job, if I could deliver for you just in 10 seconds on a click of button. Now imagine how much of quality time we are able to save. A lot. So this is what now objective. First thing first, do it along with me. Bring salespersons to the filter area. Right now, keep your cursor above to the pivot table, that filtered cell, salesperson showing all. You can select that cell. Then go to your analyze or pivot table analyze button. There is a very first option naming called pivot table name. And below to that, there is a options tab. Don't click the options also. Next to the option, there is a small navigation button is there. And now, once I go and click this, there is an option comes up. Show report filter pages. Able to see? Click that. Then it will take you to a dialog box. What is the field under display? Salesman. Is it the same field? My boss is also expecting the reports. Yes. Click OK and see the beauty. On your blink of your eyes, your pivot table will start exporting the data into multiple reports, having the selection with the field name called salesman, and pivot table patterns remains the same, and fields are also renamed with the salesman name. So that is what we call it as people, the life savior option of our pivot table. Trust me, I have seen literally people sitting and doing the copy paste work at the year end. So you can prepare such kind of report at the year end. Your product wise report, customer wise report, dealer wise report, cost center wise report, or BU wise report, anything. you can prepare out of this, right? So just check it out. Is it working? Yeah. Yes, Pramod, what you need to do first is the field based on which you are expecting the multiple reports, that one you have to retain in the filter area. Okay, fine. This is the first thing. Now, the same field is going to appear above to the pivot area. Keep the cursor in that filter header. Don't click the filter button. Don't do anything else. Directly go to your analyze or pivot table analyze, depends upon the version. The very first option from the left, pivot table name. Below to that, one options tab is there. Then next to the options, a small navigation button is there. Out of that, the second option deals with show report filter pages. Able to see? Now, once I click this, it will take me to a dialog box where I could see salesperson field is populated. Yes. Now I need to click OK. So when I click OK, with immediate effect, it will start exporting the data into multiple reports. And you can see in the bottom line of your sheet tabs, do you see the sheet tabs already renamed with the salesman name? All right. Hope it is clear what we did in our pivot table. Number 6. Any questions if you have, please ask me. Okay. Now right click on pivot 6 sheet name. Move or copy. Create a copy checkbox you can activate and click OK. So one more pivot turns up. The name is pivot table number 7. Salesperson work is over. You can remove the same. Now, I'm going to take you through one more beautiful concept of our pivot table, which will be helping you again to make it more informative about your pivot table data. How? Just see. If you remember, in day 1, we discussed something called data presentation sheet, how to make our data informative. Like we had got our data in numbers and we presented in terms of percentage. Do you remember? So Jan to December revenue data was there. We presented in terms of percentage. The same thing. Like here, I am presenting my data in billions, millions, or lakhs and crores. Maybe my immediate boss would be happy. But when I'm presenting my data to the management, they will be looking for revenue should be in percentage. So how to present our data in percentage values? Just see. In those kind of presentation, this grand total, the column which is showing in the extreme end, this column is not playing any role. We need to remove that. But how to remove? If I go and type control minus to delete, it will not accept. So people will suggest you go for hiding the same. Don't hide. I'll tell you a beautiful option. Just see how to remove this grand total alone. There are two grand totals. If you look at, one is horizontal grand total, one is vertical grand total. So this is called our horizontal grand total, and this is called our vertical grand total. Okay. So how to remove this grand total alone, I'll tell you. Just see, keeping your cursor in the pivot, go to design. There is an option from the left, second one is called grand total. Okay. So now when I go for over here, check, there are four options: off for rows and columns, on for rows and columns. And there is one more option over here, you call off for or on for rows only, on for columns only. So if I go for on for columns only, automatically what happens? The column wise grand total is on, the row wise grand total is off. So what is this option about? Going to design, grand totals, on for columns only. Check. Are you getting the similar setup on the respective screens? All right. Now, once we are done with this, then see the beauty. If you look at in our value area, already sales USD is there, correct? Now, what I'll do, just follow my screen for 1 minute. I will be giving time for you to try that same, don't worry. But first observe my screen, what I'm doing. I will take sales USD one more time to the value field area. Okay. So a new column turns up. If you see, it will be showing sales USD2. I will right click on that column header and I'll go for show values as. Show values as. There's an option called percentage of column total. So I need to go for that and see the beauty. Each and every year wise, I got my data 100%. And out of that, in that year, the product, how much it is contributing to the revenue, we got it. So 2014, Indica contributed 5.95 percentage, but 2015, the growth is there. It's a good sign, right? So this is called our, over here, you can rename the field as revenue percentage. Right, people? So kindly check, you all are getting the same. So all these columns people technically they create manually, whereas we have an inbuilt option. Okay. Sachin, you able to get it? Anybody is not getting, struggling, take my help. Don't struggle there or don't skip it because all this information, we need it in our routine activities. Okay. Vijay, what is the status? All right. Now, what else we can do with regard to pivot? Let's see. Just 1 minute again, watch my screen. Now, suppose say my boss asked me, Prabhas, this Indica, whatever the revenue showed me, it may not be one invoice, definitely. Could be the combinations of many more invoices in 2014. Yes, of course. Now, just show me how many invoices we have raised in 2014 with regard to Indica. So number of invoices we need to find. How? Just see again. 1 minute. Watch my screen. I will take sales USD one more time to the value field area. Another new field turns up. I'll go for right click upon the same. Excuse me. Now there is an option over here. You can notice summarize values by. By default, it is showing sum. I will change it to count. Earlier, we have discussed about show values as. Now we are taking summarize values by. Instead of sum, I'll make a count. And here I'll be making it number of invoices. So how many invoices there? Automatically, that is also populating. Right? So this is how, whenever you need to make your pivot table more informative, you can give this kind of add-on to the columns. And the beauty is all this information will be retained as a pivot table property, and people will love to see that. Any difficulties in understanding? All right. So pivot 7, what we did, we are pretty clear now. So let's do one thing. Right click on pivot 7 sheet name, move or copy, create a copy checkbox you can activate and click OK. Now we got another pivot naming called pivot table number 8. So now this revenue percentage is over, you can remove. Number of invoices over, you can remove. Right? You got your pivot structure back. Now how to get that grand total, which we have deactivated? How to get that again? Same option. Where to go? Anybody quickly? Which option to activate the grand total of the rows? Keeping the cursor in pivot, going to design, grand total from the left second one, and on for rows, both and columns. So your grand total is ready. Okay, kindly save all your workbooks. Now we'll come to our pivot 8. No doubt we'll discuss, but before that, did you, I mean, you worked with pivot, but are you happy the way we have presented? I'd like to just take your opinion, being a user. The way we have created our data, are you happy with the presentation? Okay, fine, very good. Now, again, I am repeating the same question in more precise way. Do you think that the order of data, whatever we have taken, taking revenue data, first column, presenting the data in percentage, followed by number of invoices, do you think that is this a right order to present it? In any table, have you ever seen such kind of information in this order? Ideally, what should be the first column? Ideally, number should be the first column. So that you should have pointed me. that you should have highlighted. Okay. So how to change the order? Very easy. Take number of invoices, just put it across above to the first field. Done. Simple. So this is how you should always present in a proper fashion. Maintain the rhythm of your data presentation. Don't forget that. Hope it is clear. All right. So pivot table number 8. What else we can do? Let's have a discussion. Sometimes what it happens, friends, the moment you are working with pivot, we need to work with the date related fields. What is that? Date related fields. So if that is the case, like purchase order date, work order date, invoice date, date of joining of the employee, something is there, then how to deal with date related fields especially. Let's discuss. So before that, remove the first one field like product description, years, and then do you see above to the sales USD one order date field is there? Okay. Now same thing we are going to bring it to the row area. So bring order date to the row area. So what happens now? Do you see the same structure of your pivot in the screen? What does it mean? When I took my order date to the row area, what is happening? It is automatically taking the grouping of our data. But all the time, that is not going to help us. So when we need to maintain our own hierarchy of the date related fields, how to do it? Just see. Take your mouse pointer to any of the year, select one of the year and go for right click. Over here, you'll be finding the option ungroup. Right? And when I go for ungroup, can you see each and every date wise, whatever the records, it will be thrown on the screen. But that will be running in pages. And this is not the right way we should present or we should take our data in this format. So now how to present it? Just 1 minute, watch my screen. I'll keep my cursor in any of the date. I'll go for right click. There is an option called group. And when I go for the grouping option, it will take me to a dialog box where I could see my first invoice date and the last invoice date report over there. Ready? Now below to that, it shows only the month in selection. Let's go for years as well. And when I go and click OK, can you see a beautiful hierarchy of report, year-wise, month-wise data is presented over here. Now suppose say I have showed this to my boss. What my boss is saying, boss, you have given me year-wise, month-wise records, that's fine. But I want to do one more level of hierarchy analysis, is the date-wise records analysis also I want to do. So if that is the demand, then how to deal with? Select one of the year. Okay. Now, right click open the same, go for over here. Now, when I go for right click, there's an option called group. And when you go for the group, already month and years in selection. There is an option over here called days also. Can you see? So days also you need to select. This is the only selection you have to add more. That's it. And when you click OK, see the beauty? What happens? Another hierarchy of report. Year-wise, date-wise, month-wise, and day-wise records. Looks good, neat and clean, presentable, informative. So kindly confirm all of you are getting the same structure on your respective screens. All right. Now we are going to see what else we can do with regard to pivot. Okay. 2014 is not repeated. Did you do it manually, Sachin? It will be repeated, just see.
No.
Okay, could you please share your screen? Yeah, could you please share your screen? Let me have a look.
Yes.
You have taken.
Is it visible now?
Yeah, I can see that. Don't bring salesperson. Salesperson, you remove it. First of all, unwanted fields. Salesperson, you remove it. Right. Okay, so you got giant total. Fine, no problem. You do one thing. Go to design. Go to the design tab and take the report layout, third option from left, and choose repeat all item labels. Ready?
Okay. Same. Report layout and okay.
Repeat all item labels. Right. Fine then. So welcome, no problem. So I'm taking the control back on the screen. And people, I believe that everybody is clear so far, whatever we discussed. Now, right click on pivot 8 sheet name, move or copy. Create a copy and click OK. So one more pivot turns up. The name is pivot table number 9. And now we are going to discuss what else we can do with regard to pivot table. Okay. Now here, one thing, please stay focused. Very, very important one. Whenever you go for pivot table and customizing your report, creating the hierarchy for the date related fields, it is going to create new two fields over here like this, months and years. These are not your real field. Your real field is over here. Okay. How to differentiate? This is in singular, this is in plural. Okay. Now, what is the point? Why we need to remember all these things? The reason is tomorrow, if you want to create your own report, don't take this months and years. Take always this fields. So this is the reason why I asked you, always remember to take this field over here, not this. These are the virtual fields. Again, it is generated out of the date column. Clear? Now, remove all these fields. Like from the row area, you please remove all these fields, the date and everything, you remove. Then bring product description to the row area, year into the column area. So whatever the first pivot table we had generated, the same thing we got it over here. Kindly confirm. All right. So now I'm going to take you through one more beautiful concept of our pivot. Ideally, how do you present your data also? That also going to help you enhancing the skills. Now, take a look. No need to do anything. Just take a look. If you are in the audience seat and I am presenting my pivot table something like this, will you like it? I would like to take your opinion. Keep yourself in the audience shoes and I am presenting something like this. Will you like this pivot table? Information is there that anybody can bring it. What I was always emphasizing upon since day one, how do you present your data? There you are making a difference. So here, do you think that again, people have that much of time to go through your numbers and interpreting the story in terms of lakhs, crores, billions, millions? Do you think that instantly it is giving the result? If I want to see 9 lakhs 89,000 or 9 crore 89 lakhs, I'll be immediately get confused. So I have to give more focus again on the data side to read and understand. Do you agree with me? So in this case, what is the ideal way to present your boring and lengthy numbers? If you see any company's balance sheet, if you see any company's profit and loss account, if you are investing your money in the share trading or the commodity purchasing and all, how do you do that? Do you go and blindly just put it across? No. You just see the back end story, how the company is doing the business, in how many years it is sustaining to the world. I mean, this our trading world, and what is that ups and downs over there, and what is the increase and decrease in the share price, how it is fluctuating. It's a lot of parameters you are checking. Then you go and invest your money, right? See, it's our hard-earned money. We cannot just and blindly just gamble like this. After watching all these things, if my fate is down or if something goes wrong, if the market is going sore or international market is down, I can't help. But yes, before investing our money, we check twice. So similarly, the moment you are presenting our data to the people, if you go and present this kind of lengthy numbers, people don't like it. So what is the best way to present it? If it is of 9 lakhs 89,275, people will love to see in this format 9.89. I will present, and here I will be presenting it INR in lakhs. Is it going to easy for reading the data? What's it? If I convert this data completely over here in this format, okay, this data, whatever it is there, if I go and present in this format and I will be explaining INR in lakhs, people will not be struggling to read the data, very easy to read. So this is what we are supposed to present. So now the question is how to present it like this. Can somebody help me? I gave an objective. So what is the options we have to present something like this? There are two ways. What people they do, I'll tell you. Okay, stay focused. They will either create a manual column and they divide this data by 1 lakh and they will present it in another 3 columns manually. This is one. The other one, some people they will tell you go to our summary table data sheet, create a new column, and this billing column divide by 1 lakh, and this column you take it as a sales value over there in the pivot. Don't do either of this because one is time taking, second one file size will be more, third one if you create a manual column it is not going to be the property of pivot at any point of time, and people don't like it also, right? So now the question is, without doing any of this operation, if I help you to convert this data itself in lakhs, will, will it be saving a lot of time? What's it? Of course, a lot of time. Now, please stay focused. The technique, what I'm going to tell you, you will never find in our Google also. In the web world also, you'll never find that. And trust me, it is going to save a lot of time and you can create an impact in the audience mind as well. So just 1 minute, first watch my screen. I have selected all my numbers. I have gone for control 1. So what is the meaning by control 1? Getting the format cell. Whatever we do, just simply right click and format cell option. The same thing, we are going to get it over here also, like this. Okay, control 1. Now here we have an option called custom. And if you look at, it will be showing the type box general. I will delete everything. Now what I'm going to type is, stay focused. First, I need to type my hash key, the numerical key 3. Then I'll go for the backslash. Where it is available, the backslash, above to the enter key, one pipe and back symbol is there. Then I'll go for a dot, full stop. Then I'll go for typing 0 2 times, 0, not O. And I'll go for comma. Can you see the sample data? What I was showing, is it populating? The sample data, right? So this is what the custom formatting. No need to go in depth of this. What is the symbol hash key says, what is backslash says, don't worry about it. It's not playing any role also. Just remember, these are the keys you have to take. So I'm copying and pasting in the chat box also. Okay. And see the beauty. With immediate effect, your data will be converted into INR into lakhs. Pretty good. I bet you ask anybody in your corporate. If he answers this no, I'll be giving you immediately 5,000 cash prize. In internet, you will be finding how to make a grouping of the comma separators in billions, millions. You can do that. But Indian rupees or Indian currency, it has never been customized. It has never been designed by Microsoft. So just check it out, please, people. Confirm, is it turning up on transforming your data into lakhs? Select your data, control 1, and this is what you need to type over here. So I believe everybody is able to get that. Helpful? It's not only in pivot. In your normal course of action, any data is there in Excel sheet that you can also convert like this. Ideally, what people will suggest you in the normal Excel course data, just for information, I'm telling, just watch my screen. Say, I have got the data like this, okay? And I am taking to a new worksheet for to better understanding. Now, what they will suggest, they will tell Okay, if this is the case, you go and create a cell naming called 1 lakhs and copy that, come back to your data and go for paste special. Okay, there's an option called multiply and divide, you can see. And in this, I need to go for divide. Okay, and when I click OK, I'll be getting my results. So whatever my data was there, now it is converted into lakhs. That is how people know, or people are aware of doing this. And that is meant for normal Excel sheet. The same you cannot apply to a pivot table. So the tips, whatever I shared, it will be applicable for both. Though you are working in pivot or you are working with a normal Excel sheet data, you can do that. I will show you again. Just see. I'll go for bringing the data into the same format how it was, going for multiplying. And if I go for control 1 and going for our custom, removing the general, taking the hash, backslash, dot, 00, comma. Can you see in the sample data? Already it is showing the result, right? So this is how, the moment you go for this, automatically populating the records. All right. Now, we have done with our pivot table number 9. Clear, people? Whatever we did. Right click on pivot 9 sheet name. Move or copy. Create a copy checkbox you can activate and click OK. So one more pivot turns up pivot table number 10. Okay. Now here the data, whatever we have, if I want to bring it back, same control 1 and go to your custom, make it to general. Just make it to general. And the moment you click OK, your data is stored again. So kindly save all your workbooks. Now we'll go for a short break of 15 minutes max. In my system, it is 4:15.4:30. Again, we are going to resume our session. So have a brisk, come back soon. By 4:30 p.m., we will discuss the rest. Okay. So I'll be in mute. I'll be back in 4:30. Well, people, so I believe everybody's back. Could you please respond in the chat box by for yes quickly? Okay, I got two confirmation. All right. So now what we are going to discuss is again, one more beautiful concept of our pivot is how to design or how to create a dashboard using pivot table. Okay. So dashboard, you would have heard this terminology quite often in the corporate world. Like say, take an example. If I take a bunch of files and I am going to present the records or details to my superior, do you think that he is going to be happy by watching many more files? While I'm presenting all these things, he will stop me first and he will tell, wait, hold on. Do you think that I have got whole day to go through all your files? Why don't you create a one page of report? Why don't you bring the entire details in one file? This is how people react. Now say, take an example. You take multiple information and showcasing the details to your customers, to your vendors, to your stakeholders. What they say? See, we are not technical persons, just showing the layman terms in one page, the entire information. People demand something like this. So this is called nothing but again a dashboard. So when you talk about dashboards, people, it consists of three elements. One, there should be a drop down, and based on this drop down, when the person select a variable, there should be a tabular data, and based on the tabular data, there should be a charts and graphs, and that is classified as a dashboard. So we are going to create now a dashboard. But before proceeding further with the dashboard, let me show you some real-time dashboard so that it will be giving more clarity what we are up to, what we are going to achieve, or what is your aim now doing the exercise. So next 2 minutes, no need to do anything. Just watch my screen closely. Okay. So I am going to take you through some real-time dashboards. Now kindly look at my screen over here. I'm going to take you through one HR dashboard. Okay. Now you can see on my screen, this is a company's HR dashboard, and you could see how the elements are distributed. One particular box is containing all the fields or the department names. Below to that, the company has the presence in 5 different cities. It is available. Below to that, 9 years data we have taken to analyze all the year details are available. And below to that, all the list of employees who are working in the organization, those names are available over here. And taking those information, different charts and graphs, line, column, pie, bar, and along with it, some tabular data, some relevant numbers, it is there. Now, how it operates, I'll tell you. At any point of time, if you want to know what is the headcount trend of the whole organization in the last 9 years, if I want to know in HR department, 9 years, what was the head count? If I choose HR over here, this chart is going to change. Just see, if I choose HR, is it changing? Yes. Similarly, if I want to know in HR department, Los Angeles City, what is that head count? So if I go and choose HR Los Angeles from the city, this chart is going to reflect. See? Similarly, if I want to know in HR department, Los Angeles City, in 2006, what is the breakup of the salary? This is going to change, and based on this chart and this chart is also going to change. Just focus on the charts and this table. Human resource, Los Angeles City, 2006. Is it changing? Yes, with instant effect. So this is called nothing but your sophisticated dashboard. And to create something like this, it needs time. It's not just overnight, put the formula and get the answer. But this is just one-time investment. And trust me, when you present something like this is going to be an asset for the company. And nowadays, the companies, they pay a hefty amount to get it done by some third party. All right. But to create this, what is the efforts? 9 years data, you must have to play around. Then 90% calculations, whatever we have learned so far since afternoon, is nothing but over here. 90% calculations only on pivot calculations. Then to update our records or to create some list, we must have some ready-made list over here. Like if my company is tomorrow going to acquire or inaugurate a new office in a different city, I should keep adding over here. If I complete the business for the calendar year, I should keep adding the years. If I introduce one more department in my organization, I am going to add it over here. If any employee leaves, I need to delete from the employee list. If any employee joins, I need to add in the bottom side of the list. So this is the reason why this list is to be maintained. So only thing is I need to keep operating with only these three. This is just one-time job. So this is called one of the sophisticated dashboard. Now I'm going to take you through one more dashboard over here, naming sales dashboard. Okay. So if I go for a sales dashboard, just watch my screen. So this is again one page of report. You could see different charts, graphs, line, bar, by, sub, everything is here. Month details are available, product categories, whatever I am selling to my customer, that list is there. These are the sales representative names, and these are the different regions where I'm operating. Now, any point of time, if I want to know in my Eastern zone, how is the status? So if I go and click on this East Coast over here, that entire data is now going to reflect my Eastern zone's performance. If I want to know in my Eastern zone how my Jenny Paul salesman is doing over there. So if I want to check Jenny Paul's performance, I'll go and click Jenny Paul. So this is how immediately it is going to reflect all the details about Jenny Paul only in Eastern zone. So this is something again, one page of report, and more or less we are going to create something like this. So now my question is, if I help you in creating something like this, if you get this kind of knowledge, do you think that it will be a value addition to your work? Okay, so Vijay is saying yes. How about others? So if you're able to connect with something in your data, if you learn how to create such kind of reports, is it going to help you? My question is very simple. All right then. So now you are clear what we are up to, what we are going to achieve, right? So let's do one thing. First thing, keep your cursor in this pivot grand total cell, any cell, right click upon the same and choose largest to smallest in the sort, largest to smallest. This is the first thing. Now keep your cursor above to the pivot. Keep your cursor above to the pivot and go for Alt I R one by one. Alt I R to insert row. And to repeat the last action, keep hitting F4 and create some 10 to 15 blank row items above to the pivot data. So we'll go step by step confirmation. So first step is creating 10 to 15 blank row items above to the pivot area. So is it done?
Hi, sir. Anirudh here.
Yeah, Anirudh.
For me, it is not shifting down. It is throwing up some error.
Could you please,
saying,
could you please share your screen? Let me have a look.
Actually, in this, I'm not able to share my screen. I tried it last time, right? So it was not happening. So it is just giving a sound.
Okay. Let me just confirm one by one. Is there any field above to the pivot table like salesperson you have created?
Yes, that is there.
Right. So first remove salesperson from the pivot field list box from the right side.
Okay, done.
Now you go and keep creating Alt I R.
Yeah, now it's working. Now
Yes,
it's working.
because there is already a field. So in between, you cannot add multiple rows.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Fine then. So I'm taking the control back on the screen. So the step one, creating over here. So step one is creating some ample blank row items, 10 to 15 above to the pivot is done. Now keep your cursor in pivot and go to your analyze or pivot table analyze button, the tab, depending upon the versions of your Microsoft Excel. And there you will be finding one option naming called insert slicer. If you recall, we have already done a glimpse of that in day 2. Right now we are going to discuss in depth upon this. So go for insert slicer. And if you click that, it will be taking you through a dialog box like this. Okay. So Let me first get the fields of pivot, analyze, pivot table analyze, insert slicer. Now here, the moment you check in that field box, the entire field list or the column headers are available, whatever we had in our source data sheet. Now, only thing is we need to integrate the slicers with pivot table. But before that, let's have a basic understanding what is this slicers about. These slicers are nothing but it is going to act like a filter button. So whatever we do with filter, the same thing it will be delivered by slicers. But only difference is the slicers will be acting like a visual filter button. Like you can see all the filter buttons on the screen. Then now, when you are thinking to integrate with pivot, then you need to follow a rule. What is the rule says? First, check what are the fields already taken in pivot. We have taken year, we have taken product description, we have taken sales USD. Those three fields you should not choose again as a slicers with pivot table. Okay, why? Because that is not going to play any role. Rather, it will be acting like a duplication of fields, which is technically not required. But there is no hard and fast rule. If you want, you can take it. But that is not recommended. Now, except these three fields, any other fields you want to work with or you want to do further analysis, then you must choose from our slices box. One, naming customer. Then I want to check with the salesperson's data. I want to do region-wise analysis. I want to go for month calculation. Don't take months, take month. I repeat, you can cross-check what are the fields I have selected: customer, salesperson, region, and month. And click OK. So you'll be finding 4 slicer boxes will be generated over there on this worksheet. Now, what we need to do is, taking one by one, we need to arrange them with the space, whatever we have created above to pivot. Like how to select, just see. To select a slicer, you must select by the slicer name. And whichever you want to retain, it's up to you. There is no hard and fast rule for the order. So whichever the sequence, whichever the order you want, you can retain it. But only thing is, ensure the alignment is bit proper. Like how I am doing, you can have a look on that. So kindly confirm this kind of things are aligned. All clear, people? All right. So now, once we have done with this, what's our next step? Just see. Though we have aligned our slicers, but it is not giving a great look. Now, first thing is, whenever you created dashboards, people, you would have noticed some colorful buttons are there. And if you're taking multiple objects, all the objects are properly aligned, uniformly placed. So the same thing we need to also maintain in our dashboard. So how to change the look and feel of our slicers? Let's have a look. See, when I select one particular slicer, you can notice a button exclusively available in our ribbon menu extreme right, naming called slicer. It again vary from case to case. It might be the name called design, tools, options, depending upon the version of Microsoft Excel. And in that slicer tab, could you please check there is an option called slicer styles, different styles it will be showing. And if you go for the more button, it will open up with two broad categories, naming called light and dark. And we have seen since day one, always go for light or medium. I told you, and don't go for the dark one. But here there is no medium. So which option I should take? The dark one. The reason, dashboards always should contain some kind of high definition colorful buttons. For that reason, choose one slicer, take a dark, again one more slicer, one more dark color, like that, keep choosing and confirm that all the slicers now is having a beautiful colorful pattern. Now, colorful changes have happened. Cosmetics looks has been given. But the problem is, if you look at all these slicers are containing this kind of vertical scroll bars. That doesn't give a great look. Then now the question is how to remove the same. So if you select a slicer, you can notice again in the same slicer box, there is an option showing columns. And by default, it's one only. For all of you, one only. Go and change this, increase the number. See what is happening when I increase the number? It starts distributing to the multiple columns. Can you see that? So here, when I distribute to multiple columns, then automatically my slicer is displaying like this. But the problem is, I am not able to read this information. So what we can do, we can simply enhance the slicer's width in this format. Now I am able to read it. Obviously, yes. So I can take this again now. Similarly, going to region, I will take it to 3. I will enhance the width a bit. Similarly, I'll go for my salesperson. Again, I'll increase to 3. Month, I'll increase to 3. So there is no hard and fast rule. It is up to you completely depending upon the number of variables. You can customize the column number accordingly. So kindly confirm you got your scroll bars removed from the slicer boxes. Hope it is clear. Now, just 1 minute, watch my screen. Okay. Now, if you look at all my slicers are aligned, vertically aligned, scroll bars have been removed, and everything is proper. Now, select one of the slicer, and when I go for Control A, all the slicers are in selection. Yes, start doing with me. Select one of the slicer and Control A, you will be finding all the slicers are in selection. Now, the first thing, what you need to do is just watch my screen for a minute. In the same slicer tab, there's an option called align. As I told you, when you are taking multiple objects, it should be pinpoint accurate aligned. So first thing is you need to go for align top. After selecting all the slicers, go to slicer align top. Then what's the next thing? Same align, you need to go and define with distribute horizontally. Why I need to go for distribute horizontally? Because between the slicers, whatever the spacing is there, that also has to be uniform. For that reason, we should take this. Now, when I go for distribute horizontally, now it is properly aligned. But the problem is, you can notice it is left with some empty spaces in the bottom side of each and every slicer. So now what we can do to remove the same, I can keep my cursor in one of the slicers bottom. This kind of buttons is small. It again varies from version to version. So somewhere in the center, you'll be finding a button to hold and carry up or down. So I'll just hold it and drag it bit up. Now, when I'm dragging it, just ensure that you are not regaining the status of your vertical scroll bar. You have to ensure it. Now, the final step, very, very essential. Don't forget, next to align, you have an option called group. And within that grouping option, you'll be finding a group button. So when you click the group button with immediate effect, it will turn into a single object. It will be turned into a single object. And here, it is essential, as I told you, if you do not do so, the last step, the entire efforts and the time what we have invested, it will go completely in vain. Reason? Tomorrow, when you start working with your slicers and pivot, the slicer will start overlapping if you do not group them. That's why we grouped it. Okay. So hope it is clear now what we did so far. Once it is done, please confirm in the chat box.
The scroll down bar आ रहा है मेरा. Once again, the scroll down bar is showing.
Then a little bit increase it. If it is showing, then a little bit increase that button. Is it working now?
It's gone, but not in again. The four slicers are not coming in a similar shape.
Okay, you can share your screen. Let me have a look at the status. Because you have started operating, that's why it is disturbed. Okay, see, in the slicer's top right corner, can you see each and every slicer's top right corner? There is a cone kind of structure is there. No, you go to read, click that. Right. Go for region also, click it. Month also, click it. Right. Now, little bit resize. Take the month little bit up. Salesperson little bit close to the month and up also. Yeah. Region, you take it close to salesperson and extend a bit. Width you extend. Yeah. Yes, more. Close to customer. Right. Now, customer, one more column you increase columns. 3 it is showing, increase one more column. No, in the slicer menu, increase one more column. Right. One more. Go for one more. In fact, no problem. Right. Now reduce the width from the bottom. No, not reduce the height. I'm talking about.
Height.
Yeah. Right. Now control A.
It is right.
Now control A.
All slices. Control A.
Go to align. Align top.
Align top.
Then again align, distribute horizontally. Then go for next option, group. Next to align group is there. Yeah, group. Click on that group button inside. Yeah. So now it is perfect. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
Fine then. So I'm taking the control back on the screen and kindly stay focused. What's the next step? So here, now once I am done with this, between those slicers and pivot, whatever the unwanted space is there, the row items that you select and go for deleting the rows. So delete the rows. Okay. Now this pivot table fields, whatever it is showing in the right side, I'm highlighting, you can see this is not playing any role. I can deactivate that. So my slicers is ready. My pivot table is ready. Okay. What is the next step? Like as I told you, when you have the data in tabular format, you must have the visuals in place. So to have a visuals, what you can do over here is you have to go for, okay, keeping the cursor in pivot, go to analyze or pivot table analyze. Then we have an option called pivot chart. Able to see? I'm highlighting. Okay. Now the same one when you click, it will take you to your entire chart family. No need to do any changes because this is by default selected clustered column. You can take the same as it is. Click OK. And now you could notice your pivot is ready along with a pivot chart. The same you can hold it and drag it like this, adjust next to the data side and enhance the width exactly in line with your slicers. So kindly do that. I'm working with the full screen. If at all any queries there, please unmute and speak. All right. Now, just 1 minute focus on my screen. When you have the charts in place, exclusively in the pivot table case, the beauty is the pivot table chart will be containing always some ready-made filter buttons. If you see on my screen, here it is there. You can notice here it is there showing product description. You will never get such kind of filter buttons in your regular chart course of action. This is exclusively only for pivot table. Next. When you have the chart in place, a little bit of formatting is also needed. What is that? Selecting the chart, if I go and see in my ribbon, there is an option called design is activated. Okay. In this design tab, when I navigate, I could see a lot of chart styles around. I can go for the more button and I should take blindly the last one. Yeah. Why the last one? The reason is it will be giving some kind of glossy impact, some kind of embossing effect, or some kind of shadow impact. That's why. Take this. Now, when I go for this over here, you could notice inside this chart area, some unwanted grid lines are available. That is not looking my presentation so great. So how to remove this? Inside this chart, if you select towards right side, you can see a plus symbol turns up. I can click on this plus symbol. There is an option called this grid lines will be activated. This grid lines checkbox I need to deactivate. That's it. Again, plus symbol. My chart is clean. So these are the minimum formatting we must do in our chart area. Just confirm, is it done? Two things, chart styles has been changed, taking the last style. Then grid lines we have removed. Now, so I got a confirmation from Anirudh. How about others? Sachin, Pramod, Vasi, Vijay. Okay, fine. Great. Now just watch my screen for a minute again. See, whatever we did so far, anybody can do that. It's not something extraordinary job we did or something rocket science that nobody can do. So now the time has come to discuss about what, as I have been always telling you, where I'm emphasizing upon how to make our presentation different from others. So here, the first thing first, keep your cursor in a blank cell. Keep your cursor in a blank cell. Whatever the unwanted stuffs from this kind of one page or report, you should remove it. Like what? Going to view tab, if you see, there are options in the show category, naming called grid lines, headings, formula bar. Just see these three options, what I'm talking about. In the view tab, you should deactivate all these three checkboxes. Please do it. Formula bar, headings, grid lines. This is the first thing. Now, this ribbon menu options, whatever you see, this is also unwanted for our one pager or dashboard kind of reports. How to remove that? You can't remove it. There is only one option, you can hide or unhide. So to hide or unhide the ribbon menu over here, this entire ribbon menu, to hide or unhide, you can do one thing, go for Control F1. Can you see? It's a toggle key. Same key to activate, same key to deactivate. All right. So what kind of feeling you are getting now? If you look at your worksheet, what kind of feeling you are getting? As if a blank page is there and entire template is embedded on that. Are you getting such kind of feeling? Right, people? Now, one more thing, just it's optional, not mandatory. Just watch my screen. Whenever you create this kind of dashboards or one page or report, okay, you must give a information to the user. What is this report about? So in case of your absence also, somebody is presenting your data, they should not struggle to understand. So how to give that information? As I told you, this is what I recommend, but it's not mandatory, it's optional. So just watch my screen for a minute what I'm doing. Okay. I'll keep my cursor in the first row. I will insert few rows. Okay. I'll go to insert. I'll go to shapes. I will take a rectangular shape out of this. And here, I'll design something like this. Okay. And I will type it. So this is suppose say my sales dashboard. Okay. Let's take an example. So I type it sales dashboard. Okay. I will increase the font size. Now, this entire thing I will highlight with shape format, shape fill. I will take a gray color out of that. And shape outline, no outline. Okay. Now, if you are in 2019 Office 365 or 2021 version of Microsoft Excel, a beauty is you will be having in the insert tab naming called icons. So those who are having the icons, they can use this. And suppose say dashboard, you want to go for suppose say report or something, you name it. It will show something like this. Now, if I go for sales, so I'll be taking the sales data, something like this. Now here there are beautiful options like you have got stickers, okay? You have got cutout people, okay? So anything which you like more ideal for your data, it will be adding more value. You can always take that. Now suppose say I am taking a option over this. Just see, I like this cutout. I'll go for insert. Okay. Now this is over here, this cutout. So I have to resize this. I mean, see how to add more beauty. This is how people add it actually. Okay. This is one cutout if you wish. The other options, as I told you, you can go for icons. And here, if you want to go for some report icons or styles or anything, but this is about sales related dashboards or something, you can use this. So as I told you, sales. So when I go for sales, this is the icon I'm getting. I can take that even insert. So I can use this over here. Okay. And I can change the colors a bit to white color because I'm using the high contrast to the background, right? So this is how it will be adding more beauty to my report. So as I said you, this is optional, not mandatory, but this is what I do recommend. So people can immediately make out this is a sales board, sales dashboard I have created. Okay. Now, coming to the next step. Being a presenter, always remember one thing that do not ever show many more informations to the user. The more the information you show, the more the questions you are going to invite from the people. And you don't have the whole day in the meeting that you will be keep answering all the questions from the people. Meeting, how much time you get? Maximum 5 to 10 minutes. If you get 10 minutes also, that's the biggest achievement. So you have to do your homework properly. That within that 10 minutes, how to manage the entire information. And not only you are going to only showcase the slides or reports, you have to invite all the questions. You have to answer those people. And at the end of the presentation, you have to give your own interpretation also. So all these things to be managed in 10 minutes time, right? So similarly, when I said, do not show many more informations to the people, you would have thought something to do some treatment with so many pivot tables. Yes, people, what's running in your mind? We have got 10 pivot tables over here. You would have thought something to do something on this. What we do ideally? Don't we prefer to hide? That's right. As Edwin said, all of you agree with Edwin? Yes, Anirudh, Pramod, Sachin. Absolutely right.
Yes.
So that is what the first thing it comes to our mind. Now, stay focused, please. If you hide all these sheets, no doubt, but pivot 10, you have to keep it open. Do you agree with me? that we cannot hide because that is our core business area. Now, just imagine our friend Edwin has hidden all these sheets and he is working with pivot 10. He is showing all these details to his audience. And by mistake or accidentally, the mouse right click is on. So what is going to happen, Edwin? This unhide button will be activated if you have something hidden. Do you agree? And audience is smart enough to understand if unhide is activated means something is hidden. Now, suppose say in the meeting, vice president is sitting and he is asking to Edwin now, Edwin, just go and click this unhide button, please. So can our friend Edwin say no for that? Can he say to his vice president, sir, whatever you are looking at, it is there in front of your screen. Why are you asking unwanted questions? Can he say something like this in return to vice president in the meeting? Not at all. We can't do that. So what's the point? When you hide, taking the efforts and spending time, a simple right click, it is allowing people to unhide the sheets. Hide in such a way that nobody can unhide that. People will not be even knowing that what is hidden, what you are showing, where is your report, where is your workings. Nobody will be knowing except you. Then it makes sense. Do you agree? So this is again one more beautiful tip I'm going to share people. Just do along with me. So now we are not going to take the pain of hiding the sheets one by one or multiple sheets. We'll be deactivating the entire sheet tabs. How? Just see. Going to file, going to file menu. There is an options tab in the extreme bottom left. I'm highlighting, you can check. And then when you click, it will take you to your Excel options over here, dialog box, where you'll be finding one advanced tab is there. What's that? Advanced. And in this advanced tab, if you look at, there is a scroll bar available if you select. And this scroll bar, somewhere you have to drag up to the middle of the window. You will be finding a section called display. And in this display, there is a subsection called display options for this workbook. And within that, the third option, it deals with show sheet tabs. What is that? Show sheet tabs. And it is on. You can deactivate that. This is the only thing you have to do. And trust me now, the moment you click OK, see the beauty. Entire sheet tabs is disappeared. All of you are getting that? Just confirm, please. So now, except us, nobody will be knowing how many sheets we have created, where is our primary report, where is our information, where is our add-on data or supplementary data. And what we are showing to the people, people will be focusing with that. Nobody is going to ask questions, right? So now, just 1 minute, focus on my screen and observe. Next 1 minute, you can try the same. Don't worry. Just watch my screen. Our dashboard is ready. My boss asked me, Prabhas, are you ready for the presentation? I said, yes. Now he has invited me to the presentation area. He has greeted to all our global leaders and the management people. Then he asked me, please start the show. And when I am showing all these things, my boss only asked me, Prabhas, we are not interested in watching last 3 years data as such. Please showcase only 2016 data. Well, I'll go to my chart filter, year 2016. Now, anybody who is interested to see the numbers, they can watch pivot table data. And those who wants to make an immediate impressions about this table, they can make out that from Genix Nano, we got the maximum revenue. From Sumo Gold, we have got the least revenue. Now, suppose say, next to my boss, my chief marketing officer is sitting. He asked me, Prabhas, if this is the history of 2016, can you please show me the performance of salesman 5 for the year? So we have a salesperson slicer. I can click SM5. Now see the beauty. This is what the information of Salesman 5 for the year 2016. Now, looking at the same, my chief marketing officer asked one more question immediately. What's that? If this is the history of Salesman 5 for the year 2016, can you please show me his performance for the month of May? So I have a month slicer. I will go and click May and see the result immediately. Only one product he has sold. To whom? To Tuli Motors. Which country? Africa. And what's the product name? Hexa. Can you see that? On a click of button, everything is happening. We are not navigating from one file to other, one sheet to other. And this is how, when you integrate a slicer with pivot table, with pivot chart, this is nothing but your dashboard. So this is how people you have to create your reports. Techniques remains the same. You know what is the data you have with you. You know your target audience very well. Only thing is you have to play around with your data. And trust me, when you present something like this, whoever is there in the audience side is definitely going to be happy watching your presentation. And somebody will ask you also, how did you create all these things? That's what we want. People should ask us, right? So just check one time. Is it happening the way I showed you? You are also able to navigate your report in this format. And is it operating for you? Check it out, confirm. Hide process. Okay, we'll go and Vijay and Edwin, they're asking something. Fine. So I'll do one thing. Just watch my screen. So let me first get a clarity more for the Vijay's question. So Vijay is asking, please repeat the hide process of once more. Hiding of the sheet tabs, you mean to Vijay? The pivot table numbers I have hidden, those things you are asking? Okay, just see. So Edwin, just give me a minute. Let me help first Vijay. I'll come back to you. Okay. So Vijay, please focus. Go to file, and we have an options tab. Go for that. And you will be getting Excel options. Within that, you have a advanced tab. Okay. And then scroll it down, taking the scroll bar, scroll it down. Somewhere in the middle, when you reach, you'll be finding a display option is coming up. And within the display, there is an option called display options for this workbook. And the third option, it deals with show sheet tabs. This checkbox will be on by default. You need to deactivate this. That's it. And when you click OK, your all the sheets will be deactivated. It will be hidden. Hope you got it, Vijay. Okay, welcome. Now coming to our Edwin's question. So Edwin is asking me to how to create that header. Please repeat. Yes. So Edwin, you can focus on my screen. I'm just deleting all these things. Okay. Right. Just see. So if you are in 365, you have the options. You can go for all these options and beauty. See, first you keep your cursor in a blank cell in the top row and insert few rows. How to insert? Alt-I-R. You know that, right? Now, once you have all these blank rows inserted, okay. Now, what you need to do is you need to go to your insert. There's an option called shapes. In this shapes, take a rectangular shape and then just drag it. And there you type a text, whatever the dashboard name you want to make it. Is it a sales dashboard or revenue dashboard, whatever? So I name it as sales dashboard. Then select the same and increase the font size. Now, how to increase the font size? You can go for a simple keyboard shortcut, Control, Shift, and greater than symbol to increase the font size. The same thing works for your PowerPoint also, Word also, Outlook also. Okay. Now, once you do so, keeping the high contrast to the background. So if you go for shape format, after selecting that box, shape fill, make it a bit gray color. Okay. Then if you are in 365, especially, we have got a very beautiful option called our icons. If you go to icons, it will connect to your Microsoft Office server. Now, whichever the icon is ideal for your report, you can take that. So I gave you two options. One, you can take the ready-made icons. Okay. If it is a sales dashboard, you can take the icon sales dashboard. Anything related to sales, do I have something? Or if I go for something, say corporate, do I get anything? So like this, I'm getting. So I can take like say wealth. So I get so many wealth symbols. Okay. I mean, it's up to you, whichever you believe it's ideal to you. So I'm working with INR. I can take the INR symbol, otherwise, up to you. And here, one more information I told you, the cutout peep. So this will be adding nowadays more beauty and this is more popular. So if you believe one cutout is more helpful for me, like taking this cutout, or I would like to take something below to that, I'll take this cutout otherwise, or this one. You can choose, up to you. So I took this one and inserted. Okay. So now this cutout, whatever I have, okay, I need to reduce it. I have to fix it over there in that area, right? So when I fix it, it is there. Now, if you do not like this kind of cutout, you have to go to insert, same icons. You need to go to, suppose say I would like to go for sales related something. So I'll be taking this kind of home symbol. So it comes up. I'll a little bit enlarge it, and I'll be making this icon, the graphics fill to white color something. Okay. So this is how it will be adding more beauty to your report. Everything is there in insert, icons, insert shape, and format. Okay, Edwin, no problem. Well, people, so I believe everybody is able to navigate your slicers, pivot table, and pivot chart the way I showed. It's working perfectly fine with you. All right. Now, let us go for restoring our data. So to restore something, again, as I told you, the slicers, whichever you have operated with, in the top right corner, a clear filter button will be there. So the moment you go on clicking upon the same, you will be clearing all your data. Now, what are the other things we have deactivated? The sheet tabs. To bring them same again, the same option, going to File, Options, Advanced, scroll it down somewhere in the middle, display options for this workbook, show sheet tabs, right? So Excel options, advanced, scroll it down, somewhere in the middle, displays the section, display options for this workbook, and option name is show sheet tabs. And finally, you need to click OK just to activate or deactivate. This is what the option. Now, when you click, all the sheets are restored. Now, what are the other things we have deactivated? Keeping the cursor in a blank cell, go to your View tab and activate from the Show category, grid lines, headings, formula bar. So these are the things we have deactivated, right? Now, so pivot table number 10, what we did. These things, people, you need to practice. Overnight, nothing is possible. As I told you, techniques remains the same. Only thing is you have to keep on working with your data. And this thing's also very, very helpful when you upgrade your skills to the next level, when you go for Power BI, the next generation reporting tool. Okay. Now, once we have done with our pivot table number 10, please stay focused for a minute. Though we have made a lot of efforts over here and presented, and people are happy, but certain cases, some people, they will object for this kind of presentation. Yes. Where they will be taking the objection, I'll tell you. Everything will be fine for them, but only thing is they'll be taking the objection with the pivot table area. This table, they will say, this is not adding any kind of beauty to the data. This you remove it. People will demand. Now, if I remove this pivot table, now entire thing will be in toss, because this is what my core business area. Everything is depending upon the pivot table only. I can't remove pivot table. So in this case, what I suggest is don't argue with the people. Don't do anything in front of the people. If you are connected to a projector, disconnect the projector first. And then what you need to do, I'll tell you. Don't waste your time. Just take this chart and cover your data something like this and extend it. That's it. Anybody, whatever they're looking for. Okay, you are looking for some customer, says our Tuli Motors. Just click on Tuli Motors customer. This is what the data of Tuli Motors. Tuli Motors, you want to see from, USA, how much we have exported, USA click, and these other things. So everything is ready on a click of button. Nobody will be ever be knowing that there is a data beneath the chart or behind the chart, and you are operating with that. So this is how people, you have to play and act bit smart, rather wasting your time based on the demand of the stupid people. Yes. Right? Helpful? The techniques, the tricks, whatever you have learned. All right. Now, go to our pivot table number 9. Go to our pivot table number 9 and right click on pivot 9 sheet name. Mover copy. Create a copy checkbox you can activate and click OK. So one more pivot turns up. Name is pivot table number 11. Okay. So first confirm you got your data ready. Okay, I got 2 confirmation. How about others? All right. Now, in this, whatever this data is there, let us bring it to the original form, selecting the numbers, bringing it to general. This is what we learned also. Selecting the data, custom format, general. Now, once you made it over here, click OK. Excuse me. Seriously, this bad throat is killing me. Okay, now, so far, I mean, from the since afternoon, whatever we have been discussing with, you could notice that so many pivot tables we have created, but each and every worksheet has having a unique pivot table and it's conveying a unique story. So far, we have discussed. Do you agree? Right. Now, what is our objective? Please stay focused. If I have got more than one pivot, if I have prepared more than one pivot table in one worksheet, in one interface, how to work around with the same, we are going to discuss. So first thing first, keep your cursor in the pivot table, select the entire thing, Control A, Control C, and just leave 1 or 2 rows down and paste it. Leave 1 or 2 rows down and paste it. Okay. So here now, though we have got 2 different pivot tables over here, people, you could see information remains the same, no doubt. But technically, we have just copied and pasted. So everybody feels that it is the same pivot table. No, it is 2 different pivot table. How to confirm? I'll show you. Just watch on my screen. No need to do anything. It's just for information. See, if you remember, the moment we started with our first pivot table, I told you each and every pivot table, they have a unique name. So where I can find the name? See, if I go to my first pivot table, right click, pivot table options from the bottom, second one. Do you see in this dialog box, the pivot table name is appearing? Okay, whatever, it will be differing from case to case. No worries, just remember, this is what my pivot table 1, it is showing. Now the same thing, I will go and check from the second pivot table. What is that it is showing? Pivot table number 22. Is it a different one? Of course, yes. So now here itself it is confirmed, though we have copied or pasted, but technically these are 2 different pivot tables. Now, there is no point having the same information in both the pivot tables. Now, what I would like to do is the first one, I want to retain product wise last 3 years revenue data. I'll go to second one, show fill list. Instead of product description, I'll be making as product type in the rows. Product type in the rows. Okay. And to make a different feeling, I'll go to design and I'll change the color. So these are the changes I did. Now, this pivot table fields is not playing any role. I will deactivate this. Okay. So kindly confirm this much changes you have done. Right, people? Clear? Now, just 1 minute, watch my screen, what I'm doing, observe. Next 1 minute, you can try the same. See, I'm working with the full screen now. Chart is there. I'll go to my analyze or pivot table analyze. I'll prepare a pivot chart. I'll click OK. Leaving some space from the left, I'll just populate and I will increase the width. Now, I told you first you go to design and take the last tile and then click on the plus symbol and remove the grid lines, the minimum formatting for the chart. Now, similarly, same thing I will repeat for my second pivot table also, pivot chart. I'll go and click OK. Little bit I'll resize the window. And this also I'll populate like this. I'll go to design. Okay. So this is nothing new. Whatever we have learned, the same thing we are applying. We did it. Now, once I have done with this over here, see the beauty. I'll go to my first pivot table. In the grand total, I'll keep my cursor sort largest to smallest. Again here, I'll go for sort largest to smallest. Okay. All these things we did. Fine. So please do that and confirm. So 2 pivot table, 2 charts we created, 2 pivot tables we sorted with the grand total column. Now, can I take that? Everybody is clear? I got a confirmation from Anirudh. Okay. So Sachin Pramod, how is the status? All right. So now just watch my screen for a minute again. See, I'll go to my first pivot table. Okay. I'll go to my pivot table analyze. There's an option called insert slicer. So when I go for insert slicer, it will be opening with a dialog box. Suppose say I want to analyze the data based on the region. So I have selected this and clicked OK. Right. So now what is happening is when I do any of the operation over there, my pivot table window, if you look at, it is just going somewhere to going automatically shrinking. Again, it is expanding. All these problems are happening. So how to restrict our pivot table alignment to get changed automatically. Okay. Now say what is I'm trying to say, just watch my screen. If I go and operate from the slicer, if I go and operate from the slicer, if I go for it, what is happening? Okay. Say I want to check Russia. This is changing, no doubt. If I go for UK, again, this is changing. If I go for Argentina, if I go for Africa, but where it is having the impact? Only with the first pivot table, right? And along with that, when the pivot table alignment is changing, my next pivot table also giving the impact over there. Okay. I'm unable to read my data properly. So in this case, how to deal with, how to retain, how to retain my formatting as it is, even though I work with multiple pivot. Just see. Here, it's a very beautiful tip again. Whenever you prepare pivot, right click upon the same pivot table options. In this, there is an option called auto fit on column width. This will be by default on. You have to off it. That's it. Same for here also. Now, as I told you, when you are operating with your slicer, this was only giving the impact to first pivot table. Then what is the point of having another pivot table and chart, which it is not just become a static data? So to give a dynamic feeling, what you need to do, select your slicer on the name, right click. When you go for right click, there will be an option called report connections. And when you go for report connections, it will show a dialog box where the list of pivot table will be there and which is connected actually technically to that slicer that alone is on. And exactly below to that, whichever the pivot table is there, the checkbox is not activated. I need to activate this now. And when I go and click OK, now see the beauty. If I want to see the data for UK, so this is what my UK data. Only 2014 business is there. These are the products sold to UK and these are the product categories sold UK. Now, which product we got the maximum revenue from? Indigo. Which product we got the least revenue from? Safari Storm. And based on that, your chart is also reflecting accordingly. If suppose somebody is asking for data for Australia, you can click that. Africa. On a click of button, everything is happening, but both the pivot table, if you see, it is giving the impact. So this is how people, whenever you have multiple table data, multiple information in one interface, you want to play around, you can connect through a slicer and you can present it. So this will be again very, very helpful for your dashboard designing. Okay, so kindly check it out. All these things are happening. Anything is missing, do let me know if you're unable to do or struggling. All right, people. So this is it from our day 3 side, the pivot table section. Any doubt, any queries for the day, whatever things we discussed? But for your understanding, I will tell you, okay, whatever we discussed in this long 3.5 hour, almost close to 4 hours, is nothing but the 5% of pivot table. We have just discussed only 5%. So think about it. If this is 5%, how the 95% would be. So don't confine your limit to this. This is just a beginning. If you are done with all these things, now what exactly we need to learn after this is there is a concept called power pivot. There's a concept called power pivot. Then once you have learned power pivot, done with that, you should learn power query. Once you have done with power query, next level reporting you should learn called Power BI, the business intelligence, the next generation reporting, which is hotcake in the market. And trust me, you can make a lot of things better, not only from the work perspective, in terms of your handsome salary in your bank account, you'll be getting good amount of digit over there. Because people, what they do, I'll tell you, they get more attracted with the lucrative offers, whichever it is comes in our social network or in WhatsApp or in other messages like data scientist, data warehouse, data analyst, business analyst, this, that, and all with R, Python, SQL, this, that, and all. So they pay, they join class, pre-recorded videos you get, but unless and until you are a programmer or having a programming background, those kind of courses are not meant for you. So don't blindly go and spend or waste your money. Though it is of 500, 5,000 or 50,000, it's your hard-earned money. Go and learn in a proper direction. And as I told you, Excel is no doubt a right tool, but that is not the whole and soul. That is just a base. Go and learn in this fashion. And trust me, once you complete this, I bet you, I give you assurance how much growth you will be having in your career because of these tools. Of course, no tool is going to be there for quite a long time in the market, but yes, as such, the market is having more potential with the Power BI. So learn this, but provided you got a good stronghold grip on Excel, it will be easy for you to grasp the subject in Power BI. Okay. So any doubt, any queries? Hope it was informative. So I know this was a bit challenging because of my bad throat. I'm really very sorry. I tried my best to make it good, but at the end of the day, it's a nature's call. I can't do anything. So if at all anything goes wrong, please just bear with me today. I'm really very sorry. I apologize for that. But yes, this is what the things you need to practice. And our next training will be on coming week, Saturday. The links are already shared with you. You have to join with that. And the day 4 agenda would be with our most important functions, formulas like VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, reverse VLOOKUP, how to apply, VLOOKUP with multiple criteria, how to apply, the logical functions, dashboard functions again, the aggregate functions, and finally charts and graphs. So that will be our day 4 agenda. All right. Fine then. So yes, Edwin is asking something. Please repeat how to add another pivot table to slicers. Okay. So here, you got the slicer ready? Yes, Edwin. Now keep the cursor in the slicer. Right click upon the same on the name. You'll be getting a report connection. And when you go for these report connections, it will open a dialog box and showing the pivot table which is connected exactly. Exactly below to that pivot table, the checkbox is not on. Can you see that on your screen? Then that you have to activate. That's it. And the moment you click OK, now you operate on your slicer, it will be impact to both the pivot tables. Right. Yes, people. Any other doubts or queries from anybody? Hope it was informative. Day 3, as we have been maintaining the same tempo. Fine then. So if there is no query, shall we call it as a day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So thank you so much, people. Keep practicing as I have committed. You'll be getting the recordings by maximum 8 p.m. tonight over mail and in WhatsApp group as well. Yes, Vijay, you were saying something?